This past year, I moved from Pennsylvania to Virginia Beach, and I thought I'd be really excited about moving closer to the ocean, and I definitely was. But what surprised me was how much I missed the rural Pennsylvania mountains. For a while, I felt disconnected from the outdoors in a way that I hadn't really expected. I'd go on day hikes up to the Poconos and even longer ones up to the Adirondacks in Vermont and New Hampshire. Before moving to Virginia Beach, the outdoors was a huge part of my life. I took skiing lessons, I tried mountain biking, I joined a rock climbing class, and even within my local area at home, I was able to jump on a trail within 5 minutes. There was always another trail, another mountain, another adventure that was within reach. Then I moved to Virginia Beach, and while there is beauty out here, it just felt different. The mountains were gone, the hiking trails that were longer were further away, and I couldn't just hop in my car on a Saturday morning and drive to the mountains. I don't think I realized it at first, but I was definitely grieving something, and I don't mean for that to sound dramatic, but there was this part of my life that felt like it was harder for me to access. The places that made me feel more like myself weren't right outside my door anymore. And for a while, I kept comparing everything that I had before to what I have now. Eventually, I realized I was spending all of my time focusing on what I was missing and what I didn't have here, instead of focusing on what was right in front of me. Instead of heading up to the rural Pennsylvania mountains, I would go to the beach. I started spending more time near the water. I took my paddleboard out. I started open water swimming in the bay and the ocean. I went canoeing, and I fell in love with the parks that were around here, even though they were smaller. And I ended up spending just the same amount of time outside that I did back at home. And what I think I've learned here is that every place has its own version of adventure. Sometimes when we move, we spend so much time and energy focusing on what we left behind that we aren't able to bring our attention towards what's right in front of us. Do I still miss the mountains? Absolutely. I wish that I lived closer to the Blue Ridge Mountains, but I get so excited every time we get to go to Shenandoah, and it definitely doesn't stop me from taking trips over to the West Coast where the real big mountains are. But now I don't feel like I've lost my connection with nature. It has just changed, and I feel like that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned during this move. The outdoors, adventure, nature didn't just disappear, and it might be a little bit harder for me to access in the same way that I was used to, but sometimes it's just gonna look different than what you were expecting. The adventure, the outdoors, the nature, it didn't just disappear, it just looks a little different now.